of the Baltimore County Landmarks Preservation Commission is now in session. Please note that the meeting is being audio recorded. My name is Phoebe Evans-Latosha, Chair of the Commission, and I will be running tonight's meeting. We are your volunteer representatives appointed by our county councilperson or county executive and entrusted to monitor renovations and additions to our Baltimore County historic resources. The LPC reviews and approves nominations to the Baltimore County Preliminary Landmarks List, comments on National Register nominations, reviews all exterior alterations within county historic districts, and is charged with evaluating Baltimore County historic tax credit applications. Would the commissioners please introduce themselves by name and county council district or representation? We can go in the order listed on the PowerPoint screen.
This is Lily Mundroff, District 1.
Chris Weston, District 2.
Wendy McIver, District 3.
Good evening, everyone. Ted McCadden from District 4.
Ann is not here.
John Holman, District 6.
I'm Phoebe Evans-Latosha, executive appointment.
Jamie's not here. Raquel
Munesis, Planning Board Representative.
Ed.
Ed Horde, executive appointment.
Chris Parts, executive appointment.
And that is everyone that is here so far.
Okay, thank you. Now, if we could please stand as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
Which
which it stands, one nation,
Under
God,
liberty and
indivisible,
justice
with
for all.
liberty and justice for all. The Landmarks Preservation Commission operates under the authority, standards, and requirements of Title VII, Article 32 of the Baltimore County Code. We refer to the United States Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation as administered by the National Park Service. This is the accepted national standard for historic preservation projects. Our own Baltimore County Historic Preservation Design Guidelines directly reference and incorporate the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation. We have important preservation issues to discuss and debate at each meeting. If you would like to make comments, please limit your comments to the specific application or proposed submission being reviewed. We ask for your assistance and understanding so that discussion does not digress. As an additional comment, we can all agree that historic preservation is an important aspect of the quality of life and place that makes Baltimore County unique. As commissioners, we serve on the commission due to our expertise, interest, and passion for historic buildings and places, and we review submissions based solely on their merit. While we may disagree in discussion and voting, we continue to be a collegial body that respects each other personally and professionally. Would staff please provide us with our virtual meeting reminders?
Just some reminders for offering public testimony. Members of the public had an opportunity to sign up in advance with staff, which is outlined in our agenda, either to speak at the meeting, and then those who are unable to either attend or who chooses not to speak can submit written testimony. Persons who did not, the chair does have discretion on allowing members of the public to speak who did not sign up in advance if comments are different than ones already heard. If that's the case this evening, please send the chat to the meeting host to let me know. Again, this also doesn't apply to applicants, property owners, or project representatives. And also just a reminder that the information in this presentation is just a summary of what is submitted. The commissioners do receive all meeting materials 1 week prior to the meeting to review and prep for the meeting.
Okay, I think, Ed, you're up for the selection of the chair and vice chair.
Okay, every January, the Landmark Preservation Commission selects a new chair and vice chair. So we will now open the meeting up for nominations. I think we have 2 nominations, and we'll.
I'd like to make a nomination for Phoebe Evans Latocha to remain as chair, and also combined in the motion for Ed Horde to remain as vice chair.
Thank you. Do we have any other nominations? Hearing none.
I
We'll
would second John's motion.
Yep. Someone want to make a motion to close nominations?
Move that we close nominations.
A second? Have a second, Wendy? So, all right, I guess we should do a roll call vote. Staff, can you please call the roll?
Have John, please.
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Wendy, Wendy, could we have your vote, please? Okay, I'll come back to Wendy. Lily,
Yes.
Chris Weston,
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
Raquel,
Yes.
Wendy, do we have you back?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I have a yes. My
Thank you.
thing keeps bouncing on and off here.
I'll have Chris Parts, please.
Yes.
Dan and Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. That we have a chair and vice chair for the year 2026. I will hand the meeting back to Phoebe.
Thank you. So next is the consideration of changes to today's agenda. Staff, are there any changes to the preliminary agenda?
No changes.
Okay. Next, I would call for any proposed changes to the minutes of the November 13th LPC meeting that were circulated ahead. Is there any discussion or changes? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I move
So
that we
moved.
approve the minutes.
Okay, I heard a motion from Chris Parts, and possibly a second, but I guess the second was from John Holman. Okay, and then we can have a voice vote for approval of the November 13th minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Okay, moving on, we will bring up the consent agenda items. It looks like we only have one item 5 on the consent agenda, and so I'll turn that over to staff to present.
All right, thank you, Phoebe. So this is the Hart property at 410 Fairmont Avenue in Towson, County Council District number 6. This final landmark number 235, the Parker House, which was relocated. And the applicants are seeking Part 2 approval for an in-kind asphalt roof replacement, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 3 Roofs, County Code Section 11-2-201 and 32-7-405.
Okay. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak against approval of the consent agenda items? If not, I will
I move we
entertain a motion
approve.
to approve.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
I
Thank you, John.
second.
And Chris is seconding. So now we can move on to a roll call vote.
Great. Have John, please.
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Chris Weston, Ted,
Yes.
Raquel,
Yes.
Chris Parts,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
And Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so now we're moving on to agenda item number 6, the Perkins property. If staff could present the case.
So the Perkins property is at 403 Gun Road in Halethorpe, County Council District Number 1. This is final landmark number 335, the White Marrow House and setting, and the applicants are seeking Part 2 approval for roof-mounted solar panels. The house is also referred to as Glen Hurst and is a frame and shingle house in the colonial revival style with a facade that is 6 bays wide with a full width front porch. The house and setting are associated with the early railroad-based suburban development of the area, and the house serves as a distinctive example of an early 20th century frame and shingle house in the colonial revival style that is well planned with a bright and crisp appearance. The house and setting were added to the final landmarks list in 2007. The property is a little over 3 acres, and the front facade faces toward the southwest and does not face toward Gun Road. The northwest side and the northeast rear elevations face toward Gun Road. The property sits above the road, and the road is lined with vegetation and trees, so the main house is not visible from the public right-of-way. And staff added several aerials and street images to the meeting materials packet for the commission's reference. The applicant is requesting to install 45 roof-mounted solar panels. The current roofing material is asphalt, and 26 panels are to be located on the southeast side of the roof slope, and 19 are to be located on the southwest or front roof slope. The southwest elevation also happens to be the primary facade. However, it faces away from the public right-of-way. Our guidelines recommend to locate roof-mounted panels on the rear or side roof slopes to minimize visibility, or to locate them on roofs of accessory structures located in the rear yards. The Secretary of the Interior's illustrated guidelines on sustainability recommend installing solar panels in a compatible location where it will have minimal impact on the historic building and does not negatively impact the building's historic character. Staff notes that the panels appear to not have a visual impact from the public right-of-way due to the existing vegetation, the size of the property, and orientation and location of the primary dwelling. However, the panels located on the southwest roof slope appear to negatively impact the historic and architectural character of the home. Staff asked the commission to discuss the historic and architectural character impacts of having solar on the front roof slope and asked the applicant if other locations were analyzed. Staff would recommend that the 19 panels proposed on the southwest of the roof slope be relocated to either the rear roof slope on the side, which would be the southeast porch roof. And staff would also like to note that the 3 panels that are tucked behind the chimney could remain as they have a minimal visual impact. So doing this will help maintain the historic and architectural character of the landmark and will meet the guidelines. So staff's recommendation is to vote to approve the proposal and issue a certificate of appropriateness with the condition that the panels on the southwest roof slope be relocated to the side or rear roof slopes and to submit updated plans to staff to file. Citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 3 Roofs, and Chapter 8 Strategies for Sustainability, MPC Preservation Brief Number 3. And we do have the applicant and the project representative with us, and we did not receive any written testimony or registered speakers for this item.
Okay, thank you. Since there are no speakers aside from the applicant, I would then ask if the applicant is present, if they would would like to speak to the application and give the commissioners an opportunity to ask any questions.
Yeah, Mr. Perkins and Mr. O'Connor, I have you unmuted if there's anything you'd like to add.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for giving the opportunity. My name is Lucky. I'm representing Alan here. The issue with moving the panels in the front of the home to the back of the home is the production drop. Looking at the notes now on the project, he would lose about 30% of the panel's production, the system's production, from moving them to the other side. Even the 3 panels and in front of the chimney are comparatively useless, and it's going to cost more to keep those there. Putting the panels on the lower end, on the awning, if you will also cause shading issues and won't have the the correct production. The reason we use those slopes is because those receive the most amount of sun, and that will give Mr. Perkins what he's looking for. So I'm not sure how else you guys would like us to maneuver through this, or how Alan would want to move forward, but those are the two best locations to provide him what he's looking for.
Okay, thank you for that. Do any of the commissioners have any clarifying questions for our applicant's representative?
I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with it because it's obscured either way. Even though it's on the front of the, even though it's on the front of the house, it's not something you see.
And for future on additional context there, when you're standing in front of the home, it's incredibly hard to kind of see the roof angle like that. You're literally staring up, like breaking your neck to almost see that roof plane. It's incredibly unnoticeable. And I work with historic parties all the time, Baltimore, Carroll County, things like that. So I understand where everybody's coming from here.
This is
I
Lily
had just one.
Mundroff. Sorry. Do you want me to
Go ahead, Lily,
wait?
and
Go
then
ahead, Lily.
Chris
Okay.
Weston or Chris Parks. I'm
Um,
sorry.
Was there any consideration given to installing them like somewhere else on site, like at a different part of the property, so that they're not installed on the roof but on the ground? And
Yes, absolutely. Jessica, if you would want to go back to the previous slide, or looking at the photo in the top right corner, Mr. Perkins' property dips down into either hard trenching or very steep landscapes. So right here, so on where it says rear northeast, all of that is pretty wooded, and it's also a steep decline. So in order to do the trenching and get power down to where that could happen, we're talking about double the price here. We'd have to get excavators for the angle of where we're digging down. This is the simplest, easiest installation we can do without increasing cost, increasing material, the whole nine, really.
so basically, anywhere from the southeast to the rear northeast, all of that is pretty much in shade or slopes down. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
for additional context here as well, we're talking to his neighbor additionally about a solar system. They're both interested, and it's the same issue there. If you look right above the rear where that silver material is, and the trees in front of it, all of that is a heavy slope. So it really creates incredible challenges, if not disqualifies the system.
What about the north part of the property? And that it looks like there's an accessory structure by Gun Road.
Yeah, that was my-
Again, that's the same situation. We're talking about tree coverage, we're talking about amount of production, and then again the trenching and availability to do it all, as well as hardscaping through his driveway there. It makes it almost impractical.
Thank you,
I have
Chris.
a
Did
But you
have
guys
any-
are saying the accessory structure. Is that what you were asking, Chris?
Yes, that's what I was asking, because I think the south facing slope of that, but it sounds like the tree coverage and such would preclude that as being useful in addition to the distance.
I think, in my view, the view from the road is so obscured that I don't think it's going to be an issue. And I think these roof slopes are relatively shallow, which makes it sort of hard to see from the ground. So I'm okay with the initial suggestion.
Just
Are
have
these
one other
solar
clarifying
panels-
question. Oh, go
Are
ahead.
these panels, are these panels flush with the roof, or are they somewhat elevated? And if so, how many inches off the roof?
So there's about a 4 to 5 inch elevation on the roof. We can put it as close to the roof as we can if you're looking for it to be as flush. But and if you would like guards around it essentially to kind of make it look aesthetically more pleasing, we can include that as well. But typically with residential rooftop mounted solar systems, there's about a 4 to 5 inch gap that allows water, snow, ice for a clearance. And if any maintenance or anything needs to happen, we can look under the system and locate where damage or a microinverter might be faulty without lifting the entire system.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Do other commissioners have any additional questions? I just had one additional question, and that was whether the property owner considered community solar as an alternative.
Yeah, hi, this is Alan Perkins. Sorry, I had 3 screaming kids in the background, so I couldn't jump on. We looked at several different options for solar, and the main goal here was to be essentially 100%, generate 100% of the power that we use. And I think the current system that we had in place allowed us to generate around 110%, if I'm correct, Lucky, it was about 110.
That's
It was a little over 100% of production, which just allows for future growth of the house as well. With three young children, they're going to grow up and have cars as well, and so we're just planning down the road. But yeah, the ultimate goal was to have ownership of the solar panels, and be able to generate all the power that we use.
Thank you. Any other commissioner questions or follow up with the property owner or his representative? None, then let's see, John, you have a
I was just going
hand
to
up?
say, it sounded like you're about ready to ask for a
Yes,
motion.
yes,
So,
please.
I move we accept the plan as proposed.
So would that be to vote to approve the proposal and issue a certificate of appropriateness?
Yes, certificate of appropriateness for the plan as proposed by the applicant, not with any changes.
Okay. So we have a motion.
I'll
Is
second
there? Okay, so that was Chris Weston. Thank you, Chris. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then I would call for a roll call vote.
Could we have John, please?
Yes?
Ed?
Yes.
Wendy?
No.
Lily?
No.
Chris Weston?
Yes.
Ted?
No.
Raquel?
Yes.
Okay. Chris Parts?
Yes.
Dan?
No.
And Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Right, so we have 5 in favor and 4 opposing votes.
And in order for a motion to pass, we have to have 7 votes in the affirmative.
Okay.
So this motion does not pass. So if someone else would like to make another motion.
So aren't we at the place, Caitlin, as a point of order where we don't need to do another motion? They need to decide whether they want to reapply and alter their motion, their plan based on the discussion that they've heard.
I mean, you can follow staff's recommendations, which is approve with conditions that they move the front ones to the rear or alternative location, and then bring those updated plans to staff so that they don't have to come back, or if you want them to come back, then you can do a motion to deny.
Yeah, so the plan as proposed is denied. And if they wish to come back and alter it, having heard the discussion, that they're welcome to do that.
Yeah, it may be helpful for the applicant then to hear from some of those who voted no, what they could come back with that might change the vote so that they could get approved. I will say that I was
Yeah,
on
I
the fence
agree.
with this one.
I
Not as I would prefer to have the panels in a place where they were less visible and less of an impact on the property, and would prefer locations on accessory structures or on rear portions of the house. But understand that that may not be possible on this property. And sometimes that happens with solar, where you need to consider maybe you can't get 100% on your property and you have to go with 70% from community solar or other options.
Phoebe, I was one of the no votes. I just do not like the panels on the front of the house, even if they can't be seen by the road. To me, it just is not in keeping with the historic nature of the house. If you're coming up the front and you have these solar panels. So I'd rather see them at a different location on the house.
Thank you, Wendy. Anyone else want to
yeah.
provide feedback?
Sure, Phoebe, this is Lily. I kind of agree with you on the, maybe it's not, I mean, in fact, they said they can get about 110%. So maybe there's a little bit of panel reduction that can happen, and an alternative, either location for an accessory structure that holds the rest, or a smaller area that can work out on the ground instead of on the roof. And the way I see this one, I understand that it's not visible from the public right of way, but this is a it's in the landmarks list, so it's a special place, it's a special house, and I think there's got to be a little bit of a trade-off to say, maybe let's keep the guidelines and keep the front of the house free from from the solar panels.
And this is Dan. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I had to switch microphones. I was like, why is this just chattering? Yeah, I'm more on the staff side of things. I mean, at least if that portion was hidden, at least that was on my decision, and I would roll with the staff recommendations. It's up to us, whether or not we want them to come back with alternative plans where we can review those, or if we want to bypass that. But that, I thought the staff's recommendations would have resolved the issues on my end.
And Phoebe, if I may chime in too.
Yes, Chris.
I had voted in favor, but recognizing that the votes were not there, in the interest of everyone's time, I don't think it's a complicated issue, and I think that if we can suggest an alteration and coming back for staff approval, I would be fine with that. Just as an aside, I did want to ask if there's the porch roof there that is a much shallower slope roof that would probably not be visible. I wanted to see if folks would be amenable to that as a possible option as well. That does have south and west facing, if that's a consideration, or if folks would oppose that. But certainly there's space on the southeast roof that could be applied over there.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. If just in the interest of everyone's time, it sounds like you could make a motion to vote to approve the proposal and issue a certificate of appropriateness with the condition that the panels on the southwest roof slope be relocated to the side or rear roof slopes or the porch and or somewhere else on site, and that the updated plan be submitted to staff for final approval.
And I'd be happy to
Which is
make that
basically the
motion,
staff
Phoebe.
recommendation. Thank you.
I would second that.
Okay, that was Ted.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, wonderful. So we have a new motion that is seconded. Is there any further discussion from the commissioners? Hearing none, then I would call for a roll call vote.
Thank you, Phoebe. Have John, please.
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Wendy.
Yes.
Thank you. Lily, please.
Yes.
Chris Weston,
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
Raquel,
Yes.
Chris Parts,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
and Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Great, thank you. And Mr. Perkins, staff will be in touch with you tomorrow, just to follow up.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me. So can I just get 2 seconds in here, just to understand properly? If we put the panels on the walk around porch, the wraparound porch, you guys are saying that that would be approved, or you guys would look into it again to see if that's okay from your standards? Because those
Yes.
panels will be visible. You will see them from the front of the house.
Yeah,
And
Chris is.
if we put the panels on the back of the home, it's null. It's you don't place panels on north facing. It's we're in the northern hemisphere. So I just, before I go back to plan sets and we go through all this again, is there something clear that we can design and give you guys that we can approve and say, like, yes, we would be okay with this?
Chris, since it was technically
Yeah.
your motion, could you
I would say
clarify
essentially
about
this.
the porch?
Yeah, the southwest section of the porch, I think, is probably the safest place. My thinking was that porch has a shallow enough slope that you probably would not see those if they were on the southeast portion, but I can't really tell from the photos there. So I think if you're looking for a safe bet, it seems to me that the southwest portion of the porch is safest there. Which I
and
guess
any
is that
plan that
red diagram, the red trapezoid there on the far right of the plan that's being shown.
Yeah, and any plan that you come up with will need to be submitted to staff for their final review and approval, that it's in keeping with our the LPC's approval with our motion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I think we're now ready to move on to agenda item number 7, the Rogers property. If staff could present that.
All right. Right, have the Rogers property at 501 Bond Avenue in Glendon, County Council District number 2. This is final landmark list number 105, the Price House or the Freeze House. And the applicants have proposed to replace the front door, make window alterations, and installations on the porch railing. This is part of code enforcement correction number CB 1600086. So to refresh the commission's memory, the Price or Freezy House was constructed in the late 19th century in the folk Victorian style with various cross gable remnants of the Downing and Vaux cottages. The house was added to the final landmarks list in 1991 for its architecture and material integrity. The property has an ongoing violation since November of 2022 for work completed without LPC approval. There have been several attempts to address the violations with the focus on the front facade, the first in January of 2023 and the most recent in October of 2024. The Commission denied the proposal in October 2024 because it failed to address the alterations to the windows and front door, thus failing to return the front facade to its appearance at the time it was landmarked as outlined in the Administrative Law Judge's final order in December of 2023. The Commission requested that return proposal address the following items on the front elevation: returning the sunburst detail to the attic story gables with a material that closely matches the previous, returning the windows and window alignments to their previous locations, style, and dimensions, including the enclosed openings, returning a period-appropriate front door, returning the front porch steps to its original location, returning porch brackets, and returning shutters. Additionally, the Commission also asked that that professional elevations and plans be submitted showing the existing and proposed conditions. These should show how the architectural feature will be returned, or should show any issues like interior walls or spaces that would be impacted by the exterior. The applicant has returned to address the code violations with the following work items. Work item 1 for the front door. The previous front door transom and side lights were replaced with an incompatible door, and the applicant wishes to return the front door to a similar style as the original and will use the front entry at 505 Bond Avenue as a reference for the replacement. Work item 2, the windows. All proposed work will be conducted on the facade south elevation. For the third level gable windows, the 2 existing gable windows on the facade are 1/1 60 by 38-inch vinyl windows that replace the original arched windows. The applicant wishes to add a half moon transom above each window to visually replicate the previous windows. Second level main block. The previous second story window configuration consisted of 3 2/2 windows flanked by a pair of shutters on either side for a total of 6. The center window opening was enclosed, and the other 2 were replaced with 1/1 44 by 68-inch vinyl windows. The applicant proposes to return the original center window opening and to install a new 1/1 44 by 68-inch vinyl window to match the existing. And finally, the first level main block. 2 floor-to-ceiling windows on the first level were enclosed and covered with shingles. The applicant wishes to create 2 false windows where the original openings existed by installing 2 sets of closed shutters to mimic closed shuttered windows. The application notes that returning windows to the previous openings would require the existing laundry room to be moved. The application does not mention if any window trim or sills will be included in this work. And finally, work item 3 for the front porch railing. The original front porch was previously dismantled and the stairs were removed. Subsequently, the porch was reconstructed and included a new asphalt roof, deck, railing, and relocated stairs. The existing columns were retained and new lattice and lighting was installed. The applicant wishes to install additional wood posts along the railing to better match the visual qualities of the original porch. Staff appreciates the applicant's attempt to address the violations. The application does not mention anything about replacing the windows on the front with a 2/2 wood window or the window alignments on the projecting front bay. Staff encourages the Commission to discuss this with the applicant and recommends that the LPC review the items and determine if the proposed items are enough to satisfy the code violation, then approve, modify, or deny accordingly. Citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 2, Windows and Doors, and Chapter 5, Porches and Steps, County Code Section 32-7-405. And I have a call-in number. I'm not sure if this is the project representative, Miss Minshew. Can unmute you.
Yes.
Oh, hi. Hi, Miss Minshew.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I called in on my phone.
Oh, no worries at all. So we did not receive any additional written testimony for this project or have any registered speakers. But Ms. Minshew, you are unmuted if there's anything you'd like to add to our staff summary.
I'm certainly available to answer any questions to the best of my ability.
Okay, thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions for the applicant? It appears that this application addresses in part some of the concerns that the LPC brought up in its previous denials of the proposal, but not all of them. Yeah, I would just ask if the applicant could, comment upon that, that the looked like the returning the starburst detail in the attic story gables was not included. That the moving the front porch steps to the original location was not addressed, and the return of the porch brackets was not addressed. And I may have missed something there.
I can address that.
Okay.
So the porch gingerbread and front steps and railing were all removed in March of 2017. That is 5 years before the owners who are the subject of the code violation bought the house. In September of 2018, the sunbursts were removed. That was 4 years before the owners that are the subject of the code violation even bought the house. And in January 2019, all the shutters were gone. Again, 3 years before the owners that are the subject of the code violation even bought the house. I'm trying to address the issues that the owners that did unapproved renovation did. And none of those items were affected by the ownership under the code violation. In terms of the bump out side, that's not visible from the street due to the construction of the garage. And if I move that window 8 inches, which is what it was moved, I would have to redo the main run of cabinetry, the kitchen sink, and the dishwasher. So I'm hoping to leave that alone. In addition, the front porch steps location, if they were moved to the original location, they would end approximately a foot from the garage. They would also not be visible from the street. And I think that's everything.
Okay,
Okay. This is Lily. I have a question. So I don't know if Phoebe, you mentioned the alignment of the windows, right? So it's not fully addressed on the, at least on the left gable that we see here along that wall. But the size of these windows is totally different to what would have been there before. So I'm curious, can those windows align, and is the new window at the top, is that a whole new window, or is that existing, like you're leaving it as it is, versus new or existing? I don't understand the terminology, I guess.
It's the existing window with a half moon transom added on the top to replicate the way the original windows looked.
Okay, but not the where it says existing on the double hungs below that.
Yes.
I mean, they were taller windows. There were a double taller casement, right?
Could we have both pictures of the picture of the house before these changes were made, and then the picture of the house as it's proposed?
Yeah. We've been using the picture from
explains what Lily's talking about.
Can you go back to the one with the pink? You can see a little bit of pink on the shutter. Yeah, no, the other. Go.
The one that compares the two.
There we go. There we go.
Right. So I guess we were hoping to really see at least some of the bigger openings and alignment with the gables. So
I'm not quite sure I know what that means. Can you just enlarge on that a little bit?
Sure. So as you can see, like from left to right, on the left are the replacement.
I'm sorry. I called in on my phone, so I don't have the same visuals you do.
Okay.
I don't have any
on the
visuals.
first floor. Sure.
Uh-huh.
On the first floor, as you're going up the steps, on the left side there, the bump out, there is a single double hung window. And it
Right,
used to be, yep, go ahead.
That's the one that I said I did not address because it's not visible from the street, and to do it would require completely reworking the main run of the kitchen. So that's left out intentionally for those two reasons.
Yeah. So, I mean, one option, even for something like that, is you just add a lower panel and just kind of to read the taller window if, you know, you can't do anything
You
about it.
can't. It has cabinetry completely built around it in the interior.
No, a panel on the exterior. An exterior
So you mean
panel.
like a trim panel?
Or
Yes.
could be
Yeah.
similar to what's being done with the shutters on the front. It could be something like
Okay.
that.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
an 8-inch. That's an 8-inch difference. The window was moved 8 inches. So you're saying your concern is where it was moved as well as a size difference.
Well, it's
The
also,
You're
height.
talking about,
it's the
Yeah.
portions of the window, the height of the window. I mean, should match.
so it would be using trim to replicate the size of the window while leaving the existing window alone. Is that correct? Is that what you're saying is a possibility?
I'm just saying that when you don't have an option to replace the window as it was before, an alternative to propose would be that.
Well, there's always.
Even though you can't see it, the only place you can see that window from is if you walk out of the door of the garage. It is completely blocked from
Who put
public
the
view.
garage in?
If I may comment, a garage was constructed after these photos were taken, and the garage sits in front of that left gable. I believe that this was the historic front of the building facing the railroad tracks, and now there is a garage in front of this building also.
That's correct. It's shown on the site plan.
I understand. And I don't like to comment on the garage because I would have a whole different set of conversations about that. So I'll
So
stay out of the
to
garage
clarify, the
conversation.
garage did not come before the LPC, and was that because the historic setting is not included in the 1991 landmark?
Yes, so yeah, because there's no setting, the garage did not come in for review, but it did get permitted and have a variance, and I did comment on it that it had open code violation, but the permit was still issued by PAI.
Okay. Yeah, so I would.
I would
Go
just,
ahead, Lily.
I just want to say, okay, so last time we reviewed this project, we looked at this side and we said, okay, rather than ask to restore all the windows on all four sides, we picked one side, the front, and we said, let's make sure this one goes to what it always was. So we're focusing on this, on the alignment, on the windows. Now we're saying, oh, there's a garage in front of it. Well, then we should pick a different side and talk about that. So I'm kind of firm on what we decided should be done to the front of this, regardless of where the garage stands and blocks the view of it.
And I think you can change those windows and restore them to what they were. It would require you to make changes to the kitchen, and that's part of what it takes to do this. Those windows were removed so you could put in these things. And if
Not me. Let's just clarify here. It was not me.
well, it was done and you're benefiting by it. It's
right. Two owners ago. I'm now 2 owners removed.
And let me just take a turn for the positive. I think that there have been a number of changes that are positive in terms of what's been done to align the windows in the recessed area. to restore a curved, curved top window there. I guess what and I know Barton Ross does, is certainly a competent designer and could take a look at that. I do feel like that bump out bay, if he were to pay similar attention to that bay and try to address that, replicating what we saw as the original size and shape of the windows, I'm sure that Barton could come up with a updated version of something that that replicates what's there and would align with even if it might be some minor modifications, but would align with what you have within.
Okay.
And I'd suggest that that we that we ask you to come back with revisions, kind of addressing that same thing. I
Okay.
think I see a positive change from what we saw originally, and I think if that level of attention was paid to the bump out, I would like to to be able to move that forward.
Okay, that's awesome feedback. And can Caitlin get with me tomorrow or at another time? So Barton's going to have to do a site visit to get the kind of detail we need. And I want to be sure I know everything he needs when he comes out, so he doesn't have to make multiple trips.
Sure, absolutely. We can talk tomorrow or next.
Okay.
May I ask a couple other questions?
Yes,
Are
Wendy.
the sunbursts going to be replaced
No.
at the top of the peaks?
The renovations that were done that were not approved had nothing to do with the sunburst. They were removed years before.
I understand they were removed, but again, as Lily pointed out, we're concentrating on this side of the house, and those, of course, are, a big part of the design of that house. What you've done so far is an improvement, but it doesn't look anything like the original. And I know it was several owners
It didn't
ago.
look anything like the original when the renovations were done, as the photographs from 2019 show. It looked nothing like the original when it was purchased by the people who did the renovations.
Well, but when it was landmarked, it did.
That's true, but that was in 1991. Are you suggesting that I should return the front of the house to the way it looked in 1991 when it was basically falling down when it was purchased and these renovations were done? I mean, that is shocking to me that you would ask that to be done.
I didn't ask. You're putting.
It was not 1991. The date on the photograph on the right
is 2016.
Right. And I have photographs from 2019 that show all of that is gone. And years before these renovations were done. Why weren't the owners then held accountable? Why is an owner in 2026 being held accountable for what was done to that house in 2019?
So I think
don't
we're
know.
trying to give you a path to meet us halfway on some of these things. Not all of, we're not talking about going back to its original thing. We as landmark preservationists mourn the loss of this building, and it was done probably illegally, and it got away, and it's been that way for a number of years, and it's a frustration. It's a frustration.
I totally agree with you.
Ma'am, Dave, if you could let our commissioner finish his comments. John, you have the floor.
Yeah, may I finish, please? So I think Mr. Parks and others are suggesting to you a path that's a middle ground, and have a conversation with our professional staff over the next few days. Involve your architect, and I think we can get somewhere where we can all agree on it. But I don't think we need to raise the temperature on it anymore. Let's try and work with your architect. You have a sense, and and our staff have a sense of what we're after. And maybe your architect can come up with something that's agreeable and works for you.
Okay, that sounds great. I'll touch base with Caitlin within the next couple days, and I appreciate your time.
Okay. Do any other commissioners have additional comments? We do need to come up with a motion.
I just wanted to add that it would be good to have the spec sheets for any doors or windows that are being proposed. It would just be nice to see just the detail of, because I'm assuming it's just the door, not the side lights being replaced, or it was a little hard to understand because it's just a picture of something, of a door and side lights, but
it would
usually
be
we
the
see specs
transom
from the manufacturer. Okay.
it would be the transom, side lights, and door. And Barton Ross is saying he will be able to provide all of that as soon as he actually makes a site visit, and we know that we're in general agreement on the scope of the work that needs to be done.
So
Okay.
a motion I would make, as I suggest, Phoebe, for consideration is I move that we reject this application as provided, and suggest to the applicant that she revisit with her architect and with our professional staff, and then resubmit the application for our review.
Maybe
Thank
we
you,
could
John.
mention if you're fine with the door proposal, you like that style, that example, or if you're all okay with the faux windows, or returning that one window along those lines to help us identify things that you're fine with those items being done, just to clarify moving forward for Ms. Minshew. If that makes sense.
Yes, thank you, Caitlin. I think I did hear in the conversation from the commissioners that at least some commissioners did express appreciation for returning the door to a more period appropriate door. And if it sounds like the applicant is wishing to also include the transoms and side lights, that is generally a positive move. Other commissioners have further comments related to that.
Well, I think that the windows should be, the ones above the porch should be the 2/2s. They should be wood. I think the bump out, the windows in the bump out on the left need to be pairs of windows in the same proportion. That's what's there now. And I think
Ed, you mean what's there now or what was originally there?
What
what's
was
there
there?
originally there.
Thank you.
Underlined.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I looking at this sketch, the windows are really not lined up, and that takes away from the style and the era.
Thank you, Wendy. Any further comments along those lines? We do have a motion to reject the application and ask that the applicant come back to us.
Motion.
Thank you, Ed. That's what I was getting to. So we have a motion and a second, and basically asking that the applicant come back with a new application after consulting with staff and taking into consideration the comments and feedback from the commissioners at this meeting. Okay, any further discussion or comments? If not, then I would call for the roll call vote. So to say yes on this is to reject the application and ask that the applicant come back to us, just to clarify.
Okay, and Phoebe, who was our second for the motion?
Me.
Ed.
Oh, great. Thank you. All right. Could I have John, please?
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Chris Weston,
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
Raquel,
Yes.
Chris Parts,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
and Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. And Miss Minshew, Caitlin and I will be in touch with you tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much. All righty.
Okay. I think next is other business. Or did we have, before that, do we have the MHT and tax credit?
Yeah, so we had a few tax credits over the last couple of months. The first is the Vanderbeek property at 5116 South Rolling Road in Relay. And they received a Part 2 emergency review for a new boiler replacement. This is in County Council District 1. We had the Gilligan property at 149 Stevenson Lane in Towson. This is Part 2 approval for an HVAC replacement, County Council District number 6. And then we have the Stewart property at 4024 Stewart Road in Stevenson. And they received Part 2 approval for repairs to the main and side porch roofing, dormers, and chimney, as well as repairs to the existing furnace. And they're within County Council District number 2. And then finally, we had the Morgan property at 637 Murdoch Road in Towson. And they received Part 2 approval for plumbing and basement foundation repairs, as well as a gas water heater replacement. And they're in County Council District number 6.
Okay. And so now moving on to other business.
Oh, yeah, so next meeting is February 12th, and then just to update for the Spark School site in ruins. This was added to the preliminary landmarks list in 2021. So it's been placed for its county council public hearing next Monday. I don't believe there will be any opposition for this one. I do not have an update about the Maroney house to provide you, so that one I'm still unknown.
So at the county council, to clarify, is not scheduled the vote on that one yet. Okay, thank you. So are there any other commissioners have any other final comments or questions or anything else that they would like to discuss? Hearing none, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to attend and would entertain a motion to end the meeting and adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I
Thank you,
second.
Chris. Is there, let's see, who was the second?
I second.
Was that Raquel?
Yes.
Okay. So then we could just have a voice vote to adjourn. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Great.
Thank
Thank you
Great.
so
Hearing
much.
none.
And
Thank you all.
congratulations to
you.
our leadership, our new leadership.
Thank you.